So very good afternoon to one and all. I welcome all of you for the lecture series of IIMT group of colleges, and this is my second video lecture on oils and fats. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Mallikarjun BP, the director at IIMT College of Pharmacy, Greater Noida. Dear students, as we all know that oils and fats plays a very important role in the diet, that is the nutrient for any metabolic reactions in a living organisms. So in the first video lecture, I discussed about this oils and fats, the nature, their properties, and as well as the importance of these oils and fats in our normal life, that is for the metabolic process. In continuation with this lecture, today I am going to discuss about how these oils and fats or the reactions of oils and fats can be affected or can be modified in our body for better applications and its utilizations. So as we all know that today we are all facing, that is this pandemic, corona, that is COVID-19. So we are worried, we're all maybe stressed. We are thinking about this corona, but more than that, I would like to tell you that more than corona or COVID-19 today, what we're facing, it is we are going to face the next pandemic. That is because of this trans fats. So we are not aware, we don't know about much about this trans fats which we are consuming in our daily life. That is going to affect everyone in the future. That maybe already we are seeing that is COVID-19 is affecting most of the people. They are belong to, that is, we can say the diabetic, or maybe those patients who have hypertension or the blood pressure. And the cause of diabetes and the blood pressure, it is directly because of these fats and oils what we consume on our daily life. So it is necessary to know that how these fats are going to affect us, our metabolic functions in the body, and thereby directly or indirectly causing all these disorders, metabolic disorders. We can call it as the lifestyle disorders. We could say that diabetes and the blood pressure. So I could say that as per the WHO records, so the mortality of the people in the world is high due to these cardiovascular diseases. So as we're all worried about today's pandemic, but the mortality rate in every year, if you could see that the highest mortality rate is due to cardiovascular diseases. So we should be more worried about these cardiovascular diseases, and we must take the preventive measures. That is very, very important. Otherwise, definitely we are going to face another pandemic that is due to cardiovascular diseases, that is directly connected to with this fats and oils what we consume in our normal diet. The question is that then these all oils and fats are directly affecting or they are causing these disorders? No. So as we all know that these oils and fats to be essential, it is essential, but more than the essential limits, if the higher consumption of these fats and oils, this leads to mostly this cardiovascular diseases. That is the point we have to work on that. Then what are the causes? This all oil fats are so bad? No. So there are essential fats which we have to selective those oils and fats which are not causing or which are not impacting much on our body system, and that is what we have to choose the right fat and oil rather than commercially prepared fats and oils. So that means to say that we have to work on taking the natural oils and fats rather than commercially prepared oils and fats. That means to say the question is that why these fats and oils, how they're prepared? That is what the trans fat, I could say that we should always work. Now India government have been taking very strict measures, that is the trans fat free India. This is the initiative taken in the recent past 2 years, that is, which is alarming. The situation of use of this trans fat has been very alarming. That's why the India have been tabled the new regulations recently, and they put that they're putting a cap on this trans fat, the presence of trans fat in the food. So where this trans fat we are consuming? You mean to say that we all are deliciously like what the common food we are on the daily, maybe this is cakes, pastries, and samosa and jalebis. We all, preferably, we all Indians are definitely favor of these foods, but that is the major cause of this cardiovascular diseases, and that is there the trans fat present to a major extent. Dear students and my friends, as well as the audience, it is our commonly we should aware that is what we're consuming is this cakes, pastries, which everyone loves it, maybe jalebis and samosas, but have you thought that how much trans fat present in that? We really know it is more than 5 to 10%. In the world, other countries, the trans fat content is limited, and the world WHO has limited its presence in the food. It is below 3%. But in India, we are consuming more than that is 5% of this trans fat in these foods. So that is what I could say, that it is we should worry more about these trans fats, and all we should think about how we have to change our lifestyles, and that is already affected in this COVID-19. The corona has been affecting those people have these disorders, and definitely we have to take remedies, we have to take prevention, and how we can do that. And in that way, that is my lecture, that is the main objective of today's session. I would like to discuss how it is going to actually affect in the body. So my topics have been very clearly, I've been say that the chemical reactions of fats and oils. So I discussed in the previous lecture that the reactions of oils and fats we have been utilizing for the better applications of these oils and fats. That means to say that the properties and the chemical reactions, they are going to apply, we are applying in all these oils and fats, thereby we are changing the chemical and chemical properties, physical and chemical properties of these oils and fats. Thereby we can commercially utilize these oils and fats somewhere else. So that is the purpose of these reactions. They've been very much helpful, but we have to utilize selectively where it is necessary and where it cannot be. And that is the usage is limited to the individuals, again to the societies and the government and the people. We have to look upon, and we have to know about this, what are the problems we are going to face. So without taking much time, let us start with discussion about this reactions of all these and fats. There are majorly 3 or 5 reactions which we could discuss today. The first one is this hydrolysis. Then the second one is oxidation. The third one is hydrogenation. Fourth one is polymerization. And the fifth one is interesterification and isomerization. And so many reactions that have been subclassified under this. So let us start with this hydrolysis. So what do you mean by this hydrolysis? So oils and fats are subjected to hydrolysis. Either it is happening, it is internally by within our body. Whatever we consume the oils and fats, it is going to be metabolized, or it is going to be digested in the body. So how it is digested? It is again through this lipase, that is in the body. Once we consume oils and fats, this is going to be decomposed, and that is but a simple by the enzyme present in our body, that is lipase. So any oil that is a fat, oil or a fat, you can call it as triglyceride. This triglyceride once we consume in our body, we have the lipase, and this converts this triglyceride, that's oil and fat, into glycerol and free fatty acid. And this free fatty acid definitely is high nutrient, high energy content, and definitely that is used to build our tissues and body, and lot of other functions which I have already discussed earlier. So if simple reaction, then what's something different? So again say that I'm just repeating, these oils and fats as hydrolyzed in presence of the enzyme, that is a live enzyme, and it can be converting this oil and fat or triglyceride into glycerol and free fatty acid, and this free fatty acids what we get, it has been producing and it has been stored, and these fatty acids definitely giving more calorie of energy for the body and other functions, vital functions in the body it can take some. So the next question then, so this is a normal reaction which is happening. So if the same reactions we can be carried out in situ as well as in the laboratory also. So which is high cost, the same reactions, the lipase if you use, and to commercially get this free fatty acids. To get this free fatty acids, we have to carry out the similar hydrolysis. So to get the free fatty acids, we have to hydrolyze this oil and fat to get the free fatty acid that can be commercially utilized somewhere in the industries for other purposes, maybe for nutritional, maybe for some other reactions, maybe some other significance in the other industries. The question is, it is okay, simple reaction, hydrolysis happened. Okay, hydrolysis can also be happened in presence of other alkalis as well as acid. So the same triglyceride or oil and fat in presence of sodium hydroxide, we call it as this reaction, we call it as the same thing we call simple hydrolysis, which is happening in the body, and we can also carry it out commercially in the laboratories. The next one is the same hydrolysis can be done with the presence of this alkali, that is sodium hydroxide. If this sodium, if you use alkali, then what we get, the here the same glycerol, but we are getting free fatty acid? No, we are getting the salt of sodium salts of fatty acids. You could say that we are getting not fatty acids, we get the sodium salts of fatty acids. So we call it as the sodium salt of fatty acid, we call it as, that is again the reaction for this, it is if you use this hydrolysis of fats and oil in presence of sodium hydroxide, we get the corresponding salt of fatty acid, and that is called, that is the soap. What we are all using today, it is the soaps, that is nothing but a salt of fatty acid. So this is a commercial application, that is to say that the first hydrolysis for the nutrient purpose, then the second reaction, that is the hydrolysis in presence of sodium hydroxide, and the reaction we call it as, that is saponification. This is an reaction that hydrolysis, this hydrolysis is called saponification, and this saponification is commercially exploited, commercially explored in the preparations of, that is soap and the detergents. So we call it as in presence of sodium hydroxide, if it is called this hard soap, the hard soap, whatever we get this, or the bars, you can call it as the bar soaps, or the hard soap is nothing but the sodium salt of fatty acid. So the same thing, if you use it instead of other alkali like KOH, that is potassium hydroxide, and we get the respectively the potassium salts of fatty acid, and that is called as the soft soap. That is called as the soft soap. That soft soap we are all using, that is we are using nowadays as a sanitizer, as a liquid soap. So we are all using as been. So that's the difference that is between the hard soap and the soft soap, and nothing but the hard soap contains the sodium salt of fatty acid, whereas the soft soap is a liquid, we can call it as, that is potassium salts of fatty acid. So this is a commercially we exploit these oils and fats or the triglyceride to get the soap, that is, and the reaction, it is hydrolysis, but under hydrolysis we have so many other subcategories of hydrolysis, that is, one is with the lipase, one with the moisture with high temperature also we can hydrolyze it. And the commercial exploitation of this reaction, that is oils and fats, for the soaps and detergent industries, they've been very well exploited, very well used this application or this reaction of hydrolysis, and particularly, and that's why the name of this reaction is called saponification. So this is about hydrolysis. The same thing happens in preparation of the pure fatty acids also. We can simply hydrolyze it and we get these free fatty acids, and these free fatty acids, again, they have been used for the nutrient purpose in the food and other bakery industries. So this is about hydrolysis. Now the next one is hydrogenation. Before taking oxidation, let me discuss about hydrogenation, because maybe I have not much of time, because that's why I choose important reaction, that is hydrogenation. This is very interesting. So what do you mean by this hydrogenation? Hydrogenation is nothing but these oils and fats contains unsaturated fatty acid as well as saturated fatty acid. You could say that here the triglyceride, this glyceride contains either a saturated one as well as unsaturated one. So that means I've described already in the previous lecture. Those oils and fats which contain, usually fats contain the saturated fatty acids component to a major extent, whereas these oils, they are obtained from vegetable sources. Mostly they contain saturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids. So then what is this important? Why we should carry out this hydrogenation? Hydrogenation is been carried out to ensure that to increase the shelf life of these oils and fats, because these oils and fats, they are, I said that particularly more fats contain to major extent, that is saturated fatty acids, whereas these oils contain unsaturated fatty acids in which have viable and undergo reactions, and that's what the stability is the question. So these vegetable oils particularly, they contains these unsaturated fatty acids or polysaturated fatty acids, and these unsaturated fatty acids undergo reactions in the presence of air and moisture. So that's why, and what happens, they become highly unstable, and that's why we are carrying out this hydrogenation reaction so that these unsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids, they can be converted into saturated fatty acids, and these saturated fatty acids can be stored to a longer duration. So that is what, to increase the shelf life of an oil or a fat, we are carrying out this hydrogenation reaction. So how we are carrying out the hydrogenation reaction? So this oil and fat in presence of, that is nickel, a catalyst, we are using it. This catalyst is very, very important because to carry out the reactions. And what is happening, all this unsaturated, maybe the double bonds what may be contained in these oils and fat, the triglyceride, gets converted into saturated one, and thereby this saturated fatty acids or the oil containing saturated fatty acids, so they are now stable because this unsaturated component is highly unstable because it undergoes reactions very quickly. That's why we can say oils and fats, if you keep open for the air and moisture, so they undergo oxidation. That's what I want to say. it is undergoing oxidation. And what happens if oils are exposed to this air and the moisture? That air is nothing but an oxygen. If we expose these oils and fats for longer duration, what happens? They undergo oxidation reactions because of this double bond present. And that's what I've shown here. And they form this in presence of oxygen. They undergo this oxidation reactions and they form peroxides. They form peroxides, and this peroxide further is a radical, it's a free radical, and this peroxide is a free radical. They undergo continuous reactions and they ultimately lead to, that is, various aldehydes, ketones, and the acids or carboxylic acids, which are highly unconsumable, obnoxious soda, and which is bad, it is for the consumption, and that's why we call rancid. We use the term of this oxidation is nothing but rancidity. This oxidation reaction we can be discussed under rancidity. The oil and fat undergo rancid. Why it is undergoing rancid? This rancid is nothing but it's a property where oil becomes oil and fat after long duration are exposed to air and moisture. They undergo oxidation and they convert into peroxides, the aldehydes and ketones and other acids, which are the byproducts and makes the oil a obnoxious odor, which the odor itself, we found that this oils and fat is not fit for consumption. And that is the purpose. That is what the rancidity. And there are various types of rancidity. You can say the presence of oxygen, presence of moisture, and various further byproducts of this oxidation takes place. And to avoid that, to avoid this oxidation, because oxidation is not favorable reaction in oils and fats. To some extent, maybe they have better application. I could say again what is happening there. I could again take up there, because in drying, we can take this in application for paint and varnishing industries, the same oxidation or polymerization. Further, these peroxides have been undergoing polymerization, and this polymerization, they become oils, become viscous, and they can be high viscosity, and they can be used for these paints and varnishing industries. That's why the oxidation for consumption, the oils and fats, definitely it is affecting. And to avoid this oxidation reaction in oil and fats, as we are using in our daily, these oils and fats cannot be stored for longer duration. So to avoid that, we are carrying out this hydrogenation reaction. And I said that this hydrogenation, these double bonds are responsible for oxidation. So what we are doing, this unsaturated fatty acids, we are carrying out hydrogenation in presence of hydrogen nickel catalyst, hydrogen gas in presence of nickel catalyst, and we're converting into saturated fat. And this saturated oil and fat we can store for longer duration. And that is what I mean to say. That is what is during this hydrogenation, we are getting the commercial or semi-commercial oils and fats. And that is what I could say that from the beginning, that is trans fat. That leads to the part of trans fat, that is commercially prepared oil and fat. And that is what causing all of us today, unfortunately, in today's market. And we are all consuming this. This is the process, that hydrogenated oils and fat. That is, I said that before that, hydrogenated fat is especially creams, you can say the butter, ghees, or animal fat. They also, but apart from that, vanaspati, we can say that it is Dutch company which have been initiated. One of the scientists in the early 1900s, he's invented this hydrogenation to enhance the long duration, the shelf life of the oils and fat. Is converted these oils and fats into saturated fat. While converting into saturated fatty acids, they are also converting the cis form of the the oils and fats, which is in the cis form earlier. some are converting into transform also. Maybe all it can be hydrogenation through hydrogenation, all completely we cannot convert all this unsaturated to saturated, but partly it can be convert this, and remaining in the meanwhile it is trans-esterification also is possible. And along with that, there is the cis configured fatty acid converted into trans configured fatty acid, and the trans fatty acid definitely causing a lot of damage. You can say that it's saturated, and this saturated fatty acid impacting, that is commercial we applied this commercially prepared these oils and fats. So that's what I could say, that maybe we are getting the palm oil, maybe we are getting this fats, vanaspati, ghee, and this been all been applied. You could say that margarine, sauce, all this we are getting this commercially, this fats, and they've been widely used in preparation of bakery and the bakery items and the chips, potato chips. We are all utilizing this cream. The creams ultimately we are consuming a lot of this trans fat that is more than the limit. Actually, India has been, Indian government has been put the cap in terms of and that is a commercially exploit. We are commercially exploiting this hydrogenation reaction in converting oils and fats which are natural, that is usually the oils, we are to converting into a saturated oils and fat, thereby we are preventing the oxidation, that is oxidation, so thereby it is unfit to consume. To increase the shelf life, we are converting into saturated oils and fat, but this oils saturated oils and fats which we are using in the form of vanaspati or ghee or something else, and that has been widely used in preparation of the confectionaries, bakeries, and we have to be alert. The question is consumption of this, they all contain this commercially prepared oils and fats or triglyceride, and that is the question I was saying, that is the result of we are getting all, that is cardiovascular diseases. Most of the Indian populations or the worldwide, it is because of this, that is cardiovascular diseases has highest mortality rate in the world as on today, even more than COVID. So that is the purpose. Then we are commercially exploiting the oils and fats to use, and but thereby we are affecting ourselves. That is hydrogenation. The next reaction is polymerization. So polymerization, what is happening? It's a continuation of the oxidation reaction. I was saying that yes, we are in this oils and fats in presence of oxygen when exposed to air and moisture. So the undergoing oxidation, we get peroxide, we get radicals, and these radicals are highly reactive. And this highly reactive, again, they combined form a polymer. That is, this polymer has been widely used in this varnishing and paint industries. That's the process of this oxidation. That's why somewhere it is not fit, but it is industrially, it is significant, it plays an important role. That's why these reactions can be utilized. I mean to say, all these reactions of oils and fat we can use, we can carry out combined or specific, and that's why you can say that, and modifications on these oils and fats, and we are changing by utilizing these chemical reactions, we are changing the physical and chemical properties of oil and fat, and can be commercially utilized for various purposes. And that is the purpose, I could say, we could say that oils and fats have been, to a major extent, it is the cost effective. It is otherwise, if these oils and fats would have been not used in other industries, you could have been this could have been available at much lesser price, and it will be widely used for all of us. So the next question is oils and fats, where what is happening actually. So if you could imagine, so deep frying, especially in deep frying these oils and fats, what is happening? The oil, it is just like a heat transformation. So for example, we're all taking out. That's why I already said that you should be in the last video lecture. I mentioned that which oils to be consumed, which are fit. I already mentioned very clearly that, and some oils with high unsaturation, which are resulting high HDL, high lipoprotein containing cholesterols, which can be used for better that to avoid these cardiovascular problems. So unfortunately, in deep frying, what happens when this oil, if you boil, and any, for example, if you can take that potato, the potato contains usually 20% to 80% of the moisture. So when we are deep frying, the oil which has high, the heat has been transformed and to the starch at the potato. And this deep frying, what happens? The moisture which is again evolving in the vapors, and this moisture again, what happens? It results because of this moisture, it can absorb the oxygen, and ultimately this it lead to this oils and fat has been transformed. This moisture is undergoing oxidation. So that is what the oil becomes, the change in the color of oils and fat. That oil what we're using while deep frying, that is to be completely avoided. Deep frying or any food which is deeply fried, we should be avoid for consumption. And also the oil should not be reused. That's what again we're saying that once it's been deep fried, the same oil should not be reused again and again. That is affecting all of us, because this oil, once it's deep fried, it is already undergoing oxidation, and oxidized products already present in the oil, and this again we reuse it, and directly we consuming is all these byproducts, and thereby it is affecting, it is making a significant effect which our body cannot tolerate. So my message to all of you, today's lecture, it is the chemical reactions of oils and fats. Definitely we have to use it for the right purpose and try to avoid, that is, that industrially or commercially applied applications. Maybe they're using for other purpose, but the same reactions affecting in the food industries. My advice to all the our audiences or those viewers, my question is that please avoid using this commercially exploited oils and fats which are used in the food industry. Particularly, we are all interested to consume our tasty foods, but this tasty food is damaging us to a major extent, and that is what it is leading to the diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. And that is again in the recently, we could say that, I could repeat again, that the COVID or infection, coronavirus infection affecting these patients, those patients who are having these previous mortality more drops. So without taking much time, I would like to conclude this session, and I want to thank all of you for taking out your time to present and to attend this lecture. And we continue to give more such lectures in the future too. And encourage, I request all of you to kindly encourage all the teachers who have been giving an excellent lectures, and with they're coming out with different topics, and they're presenting here on this platform. I would like to thank the management of IIMT Group of Colleges for taking such an initiative to give such good lectures and academic lectures, which are not only just for the knowledge, but even in our daily life, these applications can be utilized, and we can be definitely lead a good and healthier life. So please encourage all our teachers by liking and attending and sharing. Thank you one and all once again. Thank